Welcome to Funnel Hacker Radio Podcast, where we go behind the scenes and uncover the tactics and strategies top entrepreneurs are using to make more sales, dominate their markets, and how you can get those same results. Here is your host, Dave Woodward.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Funnel Hacker Radio. I'm your host, Dave Woodward. You guys are in for an awesome experience and a wild ride today. You have the opportunity of having Trevor Chapman with us. So Trevor, welcome.
Dave, thank you so much, man. I'm so excited to be here with you guys.
I am so excited. I was just, we were joking beforehand. I actually had my son read the article that was written about you just recently. Super cool article. And he actually put together the intro. So I'm going to read the intro that my son Chandler wrote here. So he says, Trevor Chapman, from broke college student to self-made millionaire in 92 days. With zero experience in online marketing and only $200, Trevor made money on his second day to then 90 days later make his first million. He now accomplishes the everyday dream of working about an hour a week on his business so he can spend more time with his family and do the things he loves. So Trevor, welcome. Super excited.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Excited to add value however I can.
So the first thing is you got to show me what you just got in the mail, because I think that's the coolest thing.
Will do, man.
Awesome. So while Trevor's going to get this, you have to understand Trevor's a huge collector, and you got to see one of the cool things he just got in the mail.
So this just arrived not too long ago. This is a 160,000-year-old mammoth tooth out of Russia.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
So they literally, they sawed it out of a frozen carcass. I don't know how much, I should disclose, but like this took a long time to get here from Russia. You're not supposed to ship these things through the mail, right? And so anyway, it's incredible. I really like it. It's one of like the crown pieces of what I have.
I love it. So the best part you have to understand as you guys are listening to this here is we were just kind of joking around about some of these things offline and understanding that Trevor's been around. He's been an entrepreneur for the last 12 years. So this isn't some new thing he just out of the blue started to do. So I want to, if you don't mind, give people a little more to your story as far as how the whole $200 story came about and why it's so cool.
Absolutely. So I grew up in Guam. My dad was a scuba diving instructor. When I was 12, we moved to Alaska. And so growing up in Alaska, he's a whale watching boat captain. There wasn't, as a family, we didn't have a surplus of money. We grew up, it's a real funny story, real quick. A few months ago, we were sitting around the table and everyone was talking about their worst chores growing up. And my wife's family was like mopping the floor, doing the dishes. And I was like, man, doing the dishes. My least favorite chore growing up was waking up every day during the summer before the crack of dawn to catch the family's limit in salmon, gut it, can the smoked salmon from the previous day, and then start smoking this by 2 o'clock so I could ride my bike to the docks and play my saxophone for the tourists. Because I realized not long ago that I grew up like in a subsistence household. And the thing is, my parents will probably one day listen to this and they'll feel bad or whatever, but anything I've done is because of that, because of the value that I learned at a young age of hard work, not despite that. And so in retrospect, like that lifestyle growing up, contributing what I made to the family, to pay the mortgage, stuff like that, that really helped set the tone with the expectation that anything I make, I do it by my own sweat and blood. Nothing is given. And so 21 years old, fast forward, I just got back from living in Russia for a couple of years and started going to school, fell in love. And, as every man that falls in love, he needs to provide. And so I had a buddy, he said, hey, come knock doors, sell pest control. I made 20 grand last summer. I said, I'm all in. I went out there and had really big success knocking doors, not because I was more talented, but because if the team was knocking for 5 hours, I was on the doors for 10 hours. If they were 6 hours, I was 12 hours. I refused to be outworked. And when you knock so much more than other people, you naturally become better at that skill. And it takes a unique skill set to knock on someone's door at dinner time, have them want to invite you in, and then walk out a couple hours later with a 20-year, $120,000 solar contract. See, I eventually went from pest control to security and then into solar. And so I've had this 12 years of this door-to-door experience. Eventually, I recruited and trained over 1,000 sales reps, built multiple companies using door-to-door as the industry to push us forward because, like funnel hackers, no one is going to back up a door-to-door company. So we have to be profitable from the first day. And the way we did that is not waiting for there to be a need in the market. We went out there and we brought the need. If we're waiting for someone to call us or Google us, there's people way cheaper. There's way larger companies that can pay way more to acquire that customer. So it's a race to the bottom, best quality, lowest price. And you can't compete as a entrepreneur that doesn't have huge reserves of cash on that. So we would take the product to the customer and kind of developed that into a skill set. And so fast forward now 12 years, and I'm walking through marketing and they're consistently like, oh, we're not making money because of SEO and PPC and all this stuff. And I sit down and I realize, dude, you're talking about query-based marketing. You're waiting for people to knock on our door, right? And that's not what we do. We bring it to them. So I said, there's got to be a way to go door to door online, to go screen to screen, like we went door to door in the real world. And I took a week, read everything I could online, watched a bunch of guys like Russell and others. And I said, all right, I'm going to give it a go. And so I set up a site. It was completely unaffiliated with my solar company. And first day, I realized I had the wrong product. It wasn't compelling enough to actually get people to leave their friend feed or invite you into the house, right? So I found products that I knew I would buy, that I would click away from my friend feed for. And then I priced it at prices that I would pay if I was in a buying mood. And then I targeted myself on Facebook when I was 20 years old, myself when I was 25, myself when I was 30, because I knew if I had the itch and I scratched it, others would have that itch too. And day 2, I made money. Day 14, I broke 10 grand in a day. And it just has kind of gone like that ever since. Broke $1 million at day 92 after refunds, after all costs, broke $2 million at day 189. And, we're just on the rise. And so anybody can do it. And yeah, my budget was $100 a day for ads. And I told my wife, look, I will not 10 days, right? So $1,000. And if it tanks, we're good. But it went up instead. And so, building on the experience you already have is so critical, I think, to have success in any vertical.
Oh my gosh, you're dropping value bombs left and right. I can't even repeat them all. I'm just like everything from the race to the bottom, the importance of going screen to screen versus door to door. I mean, I hope you guys, if you didn't catch all that, rewind and listen again, watch it, listen again. Trevor, that was just awesome content. I think it's so important people understand where you've come from. And I love the idea as far as the experience you've had, it's going to help you get to the next place. So often people think, oh, I've screwed up so many times, all that stuff, all that baggage is never going to help me. And I find so often that's actually what does propel you forward. And lean on that. Use it.
That is it. It's so funny. On my other screen here, I have a comment because this article just came out. And I had a buddy and he wrote, so I was a missionary in Russia, eldest missionary. And he wrote, since I trained him in Russia, I'd like to take just a little of the credit. Good job, Chapman. Then down below that, my old business partner wrote, you definitely get credit. I should get credit as well. I stuck it out on all the failures with him so that he could have success. And that is the key. Like, that is the key, I mean, it's feast or famine, a lot more famines, right? And you build upon that until eventually you've overcome what consistently gets you down. Can I share a quick story, Dave, that I think would be beneficial?
Please.
Christmas time, I've got like 5,000 orders that customers are like, we need these by Christmas. And I'm calling vendors and I'm like, where are these at? How can we do this? And I'm like, we got to air freight because everyone's like, they're somewhere in the Pacific. And so I call UPS, DHL. They're like $45 a pound. The best rate I got was $16 a pound, but I had to commit to 1 million pounds. And I was like, there is a better way. I know there is. Like, I can't afford that, but I can get this over here. So for 2 days straight, we're calling, we're brainstorming, writing things down. And believe it or not, after 2 days, I found a way to lease the unused space on commercial airliners. And instead of paying $16 a pound and committing to 1 million pounds a year, I got product from Shanghai to Salt Lake City Airport for 94 cents a pound in 4 days. And that whole thing spun off. We were able to deliver everything on time, but that spun off and we started a whole logistics company now, and we're shipping for all kinds of big players because we can do. And that just came because instead of saying, well, we're like, we'll not stop until we solve this. And I think anybody can do that. It's just a matter of sitting down and deciding you will solve it and then not stopping.
Oh man, I get chills hearing you say that. It's just, we go through that so many times here in the office. It's like, that's not going to work. That's not going to work either. Okay, what's going to work? And it's twist and test. And I love just that that I don't care what it takes. That mentality of no matter what it's going to take, it's going to happen. So it was like
Yeah.
with this whole Expert Secrets book launch. I was like, I don't care what it takes. We're selling 50,000 books in the first 2 weeks. And I mean, it was late nights and it's everything else. I'm like, those are the things that no one hears about. They just hear that, oh yeah, you guys sold 50,000 in 3 weeks. That's awesome. I'm like, yeah, but you don't understand. We didn't sleep for 3 weeks either. So
That's it. Yeah. Yeah. Congratulations on that, man. That's a huge, huge feat.
oh, well, thanks. I'm excited. I just had the opportunity of getting to know you when you were here in our offices for our most recent, our 2 Comma Club coaching, our FAT event. And it was just so cool because you were just I mean, as you are right now, you just throw out value bombs left and right to people to help build their business. And one of the things we were talking about was this whole thing you're doing on Facebook with messenger bots and stuff. If you don't mind, if you can kind of tell people a little bit what you're doing, and because it's totally unique, it's totally different than what I'm seeing from others.
Yeah, you bet. So what I've found is that to get a lot of traffic, you need to have a product driver, right? Or they call it clickbait, right? So but a real product, something that's going to pull people away from their friend feed. So, and typically I have a lot better success with videos, just handmade videos with my iPhone, fast motion, turn the contrast up, and it's cool, right? People see that. And then I have a call to action on there that says something like comment all in if, and then whatever the statement is that they're going to say, well, of course, right? So comment all in or comment yes. I will get tens of thousands of comments, like just nonstop. And in the past, I had a VA, following up, writing them saying, hey, thank you. Here's a coupon. Go to our site. And I still have that. But I was like, there's more. How can we get to the point so that it's not just this cold lead, we're literally communicating with them. And so when the whole messenger bot thing started to come out, this is basically what I do. I signed up for Trust Message, and Trust Message, when someone comments, it will immediately send them what seems like a personalized Facebook message. So if someone comments yes, or I'm all in, or whatever the case may be, a message gets sent out to their messenger inbox somewhere between 2 and 20 minutes. It has their name. It has, I can share this with you in an email afterwards because I don't remember exactly how I word it, but I've gone through like 10 different iterations. So I'll share that with you so you can post it. And then it has call to actions down there, giving them a unique code, a time to, 6-hour timeline, and then various PSs, because what I found is people read the first line and then they read it if there's a PS, but everything in between they don't read. So I have an engaging first line. I've got some stuff for the people that will read it, but then I've got 2 PS, gold nugget, PS or PSS, another gold nugget, because they read that. So what they do then is they respond to those PSs, which then allows Facebook to accept it as an opt-in on your messenger, which I use ManyChat for. So we give them this, they comment. So I've got that. Trust Message sends the messenger message. They get the messenger message, they read it, and literally I'm at 98% opens on that, 98%.
Trevor,
And then they
insane.
respond back, and we get that person as an opt-in, and now we can market to them through Messenger, which has way higher open rates, right, than traditional email marketing. And so it's something that is going to be a lot larger of a platform, I think, in whether it's e-com or info products like that. The ability to communicate directly with the person in that warm medium is something that will gain a lot of traction. And I think anyone who can do it right now will just get ahead of the curve, get ahead of the wave, and catch that crest,
Dude, I love that. That is so cool. So again, it's Trust Message, and then obviously ManyChat through Facebook Messenger and stuff. So
yes,
obviously, you guys, we'll put things down in the show notes. And I know for you guys we've just actually are kind of changing our format here. I'm actually doing a video recording. We're going to actually be putting this on Funnel Hacker TV. So you'll have it on Funnel Hacker TV along with all of our other episodes that Russell's doing for Funnel Hacker TV behind the scenes. And then also we'll be doing this as a podcast that you'll see inside of Funnel Hacker Radio. So in the show notes will be these types of comments. But man, Trevor, the stuff, your experience, I think is the part I love so much about is you take such massive action all the time. I mean, it's when someone is like, again, your story earlier, when they're working 5 hours or 6 hours, you're working 10 or 12. And you just get so much further ahead. And I try to explain that to people all the time. You have to be willing to put in the time. Being an entrepreneur, being a funnel hacker, it is not just, you know what, I did my 6 hours today and that was it. It just doesn't work that way. It's just how reality is. But I love it. So tell me some of the other cool stuff you're doing.
Well, so I'm going to share this with you. And I was like, am I going to share this with Dave or not? But I'm going to, at risk of sounding really creepy, Dave. When I was first looking at this stuff, I was like, I saw these personalities like Russell, Ezra, Firestone, these other guys, right? And I was like, the attractive character is something that they created. And I wasn't sure really who these people were. And I was like, do I want to follow these guys? Because I've made the mistake before of setting people up as this mentor type status and then being really disappointed and losing time following people that were not what they were perceived to be. But I know that birds of a feather flock together. So I was like, Russell, man, this dude's really compelling. But I'm going to look at his circle of friends because friends don't lie, right? The attractive character can be whatever you want. What you post publicly is different than what one posts or what one does behind closed doors. And so I started following him, kind of being all stalkerish, and I found you. And I was like, okay, I'm going to follow that guy because if he's authentic and genuine, then it means that Russell is in that group too. And so my whole coming into ClickFunnels and, joining Inner Circle and all that stuff, that is because of you, dude. So thank you. I appreciate it for, you being who you are, man. So
Trevor,
sorry for the whole creepiness, dude, but I just want to share that with you so that, you know.
I appreciate that. I think that it's fun. I've had my opportunity to have my son here. He came up from his mission basically last summer. He was at school all year and we've had like 6 weeks here. And it's just been so fun for him to have the experience of meeting people like yourself. Because, when you're at school and you're around your dorm room buddies and guys you're living with, everyone has this idea as far as going down the typical career path as far as college, get my degree and I'm gonna get this great job. And my son is on the opposite side going, I'm here at college because my dad's making me come to college, but I'm hearing all these crazy stories. And so he met you and he's like, Dad, this guy is so cool. I was sitting there, you guys making millions of dollars. He's in the back of the room in sweats, just chilling, just hanging out. And I'm like, Chandler, this actually is real. This is how it really works for those who are very successful. He goes, well, because a lot of the guys I meet are always bragging about all this money their dads have, all this other kind of stuff. I'm like, I can tell you the people I know who have made millions of dollars, they're very, for the most part, again, obviously we have others, but for the most part, they're very, very at home and comfortable with who they are. And the bling and the flash isn't as important as just the authenticity. And I appreciate your message there as far as you really can. You take a look at, who people hang around with, who are their friends, and their friends are going to say a lot more about them than they actually are. So I appreciate that compliment. It was very kind.
You bet, man. Absolutely. So to answer your question, man, I've launched multiple product funnels that I'm testing. I'm testing different ways. So basically I took your FiberFix funnel and I've gone through that and I've set that up for a whole variety of different products, following the method that I need to get people on continuity, because recently Facebook just I lost 80% of my traffic through Facebook. Kind of ridiculous. Competitors, I won't get into that. I mean, it happens, right? And we all know that's going to happen. And so working with other traffic sources, but getting the continuity up has been a big thing for me, because knowing that you've at least got your nugget covered through your monthly subscriptions is so much more. And that's the world I came from with pest control monthly subscription, security, same thing. You got the RMR, and then with solar as well, because solar, when they started, it was buy a solar system, we put it on your roof. And from door to door, having subscriptions, we're like, how can we get completely away from that? And how can we get them on a monthly program as opposed to just selling, and then installing and having it done? And so that's been my focus for the last couple of months. And that's really where I'm going hard with this. That's also the financial side of why I did the Academy of Arbitrage is for that. But one of the real reasons I did that, I'll share this story. I shared how I grew up, I was the guy that I played sports until it was time to pay your dues for your uniform. And I had a great reason not to, be able to do that, because we just didn't have the money to do it. And so I have got my family. I said to them, because I've had family say, hey, I want to do this. And I did not want to have, I can't think of the word when you give your family first priority, whatever that word is. I didn't want nepotism. I didn't want to have the finger pointed at me. So I said, you pay for it, you have everything, and you get the same work that everyone else does. And I've seen my own family have huge success. Because this method right now is working. It may not work later, right, when Facebook changes things, but right now it's working. And so while the sun is shining, that's the time to make hay. So we're all trying to make the hay now, and the goal of that is the continuity so that continues and you can morph that as it goes. And so I think that everybody out there, whatever it is that they're selling, everything should be funneling back to that. And you will not have the churn if you provide real value. If it's just a gimmick, you'll get it and then you'll get shut down. But the real value, people stay for that. They want to be a part of it. They want to pay for that. And so, I think that's where everyone should be going, where everyone should be pointing. And lastly, I think younger, I was really attracted to the whole concept of money and everything like that. I've got 4 kids now. We've got the last one on its way. And I've come to find out, I'm 33 now. I've come to find out that, the money, it comes, it goes. It's not a big deal. It can solve a lot of issues, but it doesn't offer it takes pain away, but it doesn't provide the pleasure, right? And so there's people motivated by fear of loss, most people. The vast majority is not motivated by fear of gain. And so what I've done is I've taken the fear of loss and I've put time as that. And what this has allowed me to do, the whole funnel hacker stuff, is to spend a lot more time doing the things I want to do with the people I want to do. I just got back from Mount Blanc with my 10-year-old son. I took him on a rite of passage trip. We did 100 miles around Mount Blanc in the Alps, took the mountaineers route. So things like that is what it allows me to do. And I think that is the dream. And that's what provides the true feeling of success, is when you spend your time doing that, because eventually you'll earn another dollar, and it just is what it is. So I'm being long-winded, but I think that is the key. And when people shift their mindset to having a larger reason than just the dollar to be successful, then you put in whatever it takes to achieve that.
Oh, I love that. It's so cool. We were going through some old videos. It's kind of a weird. Here at our headquarters, we're in this weird transition of Russell for years has just hated SEO. I mean, SEO is like, oh, please no, don't ever bring that up again. But we're starting to, as we've looked at traffic sources, different things, and white hat, black hat, gray hat, all this kind of stuff. It's been interesting. We've been looking at some of the things, and what we're finding actually is some of the things that we're looking at doing long term actually are the things that were done 10 years ago, and they still work. No one's doing them right now. And so we were looking back at some of the old videos and things that we used to use, and we came across one of those videos where it was like, our goal, Russell's goal. Gosh, I think it was probably DCSX. For those of you guys who can remember back that far, was a product that really changed our things here as far as .com secrets at the time. And the whole goal was, to start out, how many people we wanted to, I forget, 100,000 people to start off with this, and 10,000. Bottom line is we wanted 100 people to make $1 million. And it goes back to what you're saying. That was the goal. That was the driving force. And we watched this video, and all of a sudden it was Steven, Russell, and I, and we all just kind of sat there with our mouths on the floor going, holy cow, we did this last year with ClickFunnels because we have over 100 people who made it to Comma Club. And that's what drives us right now it's so important. I love that you mentioned that, because you have to find a larger why than just paying your bills or getting a nicer car, because once the nice car, you get it, and after you've had it for 3 or 4 or 5, 6 months, it's like, it's just a car. Yeah. And I love rite of passage. I am so huge on those types of things. I tell you, I will talk about that offline, but I'm a huge believer. Especially, I've got 4 boys, and I'm like, every boy has to have their rite of passage. So I totally get that. It's very cool. But tell me, we've talked a little bit about this whole idea as far as arbitrage, and I know you've got this Academy of Arbitrage. Explain to people what arbitrage is. I love the sound of the word itself. It's pretty cool. But what actually is arbitrage, and what is the Academy of Arbitrage, and how does it work, and all that kind of stuff?
Sure. So arbitrage is basically this concept that we know from a young age: buy low, sell high, right? So you're able to buy a product for $1 and then you sell it for more than you bought it for. And what takes place in between, that is the verb of arbitrage, or the noun is the whole thing, right? So to engage in arbitrage. And so what the whole Academy of Arbitrage is, where I teach what it is that I did in order to have success, because I engaged in arbitrage, buying products that people want at a lower rate and then selling them, offering convenience in between, right? Because they can always go to the source and get it as well. So you provide value in between. It's not some bait and switch type of program, but you provide that value, but you get it and then you deliver it to them. So the Academy of Arbitrage is, I sat down and I said, let me look at everything that I'm doing, and let me kind of codify it. I have a good friend. He's on our staff. He worked with a whole bunch of different VCs and incubators here in Salt Lake, and he was a strategist. And so I said to him, dude, what I'm doing, it's kind of like intuitive to me. I need you to codify this process because I can tell you that I'm doing this, but I can't tell you like the math behind it or why I'm doing it. And so he sits over my shoulder and he watches what I'm doing and codifies it so that it's actually based on real solid numbers. And what we do is we teach that whole process. And so there's, like Russell talks about, there's the science and the art, right? But we try to give as much regarding the science so that the art you can kind of fumble with and then get better and better. So I opened it up. So right after the Funnel Hacker Live, I said, dude, I'm going to do this. And so I said, I'm going to host a webinar and I'm just going to, my list of friends, I'm going to see if anyone wants to do it. Some people were following me because I was posting some things on other groups saying, hey, I've 3 or something like 50 days, 750 grand. Who wants to know more? So I hosted this webinar and I said, I'm going to show you what I'm doing. I'm going to sell it for a lot more. But right now you can get in with 0 modules done for X amount of dollars. And 33 people signed up and 31 actually did it. The best guy is making over 12 grand a day. Most people are over $1,000 a day. And the margins are somewhere between 30 and 55%. And so it works. And again, I want to say that it works. I've seen it work best for the people that make it work. That guy that's doing 12 grand a day, he's an entrepreneur. He was on Shark Tank. I mean, he knows what it's like to go through the famines so that later on you can enjoy the feasts. And then there's people who kind of have marginal success, but they're only marginally putting the pieces together. But the point I want to get across is that everyone that does it so far, our track record is 100% success rate. And so it was a small beta course, but the tools now are so much further ahead than we were. So I'm going to be opening it up for 24 hours because of the CNBC article. And we're going to shut it down again and just focus on the people in the course and help them all achieve the level that they want. And we don't say make $1 million in 90 days. We say retire in 90 days. And what that means is that it's not $1 million for everybody. For instance, for your son, that could be $40 a day, like $40 a day profit. And, that's more than enough money to live. I don't know anybody who, if they're making $10,000 a month, they shouldn't be able to live. If you can't live on 10 grand a month, then you're living incorrectly because that's plenty of money. And so we start off by finding that freedom number. What is the number you actually need so that you can leave your day job, leave a failing business, whatever the case may be, and then focus on this to give you the time to then pursue other passion projects? Because I don't think that this really is people's passion, but it will allow them the freedom to engage in that. And that's what the Academy of Arbitrage is.
So cool. So I'd really recommend you guys take a look at the funnel. It's a pretty cool funnel you got going on there as well. I think it's
thanks.
I want to make sure you guys take a look at that. But the part I hope you guys really catch is you did a program basically for 33 people for free.
Yeah.
And so often I hear people say, well, I got to create my product first. I'm like, no. Have people go through it and create your product while you're teaching what you already know. And then your product's done. And then you've got testimonials coming in and you've already got your product built. So I run across so often people like, well, I got to do this first and then I'll sell it. I'm like, no. Go ahead and do exactly what you did. And the other thing I love, just the idea as far as arbitrage, is something we use all the time, every single day. And if you're not using it in your business these days, I highly, highly recommend that you do. I mean, you probably are doing it somewhat already, but I mean, every business that's successful, I don't care if you're a stock investor, it's the same idea. Buy low, sell high. It just takes a period of time. And obviously from an arbitrage standpoint, you're trying to reduce that period of time as quickly as you can. But Trevor, just such cool stuff. I think it's awesome. So tell people again, how can they get in contact with you? What's the easiest way of doing that?
Yeah, they can find me on Facebook. So facebook.com/the Trevor Chapman. Add me as a friend. That can also go to academyofarbitrage.com and sign up there, and then we can communicate back and forth. At this point, like the Academy of Arbitrage is more of a passion project, and that's I think why we're having success is because it is only a passion project. I was talking to Russell about it, and I was like, he said, because you already, because I sold a couple other companies before this, he said, I think you're having success because you don't need it. And that's why you're able to really make this thing successful. And so it's a kind of different story. But for those that need it, like, you just got to get out there, knock doors, knock screens, do whatever you got to do to make it happen. And then once it happens, it's funny. It seems like it gets easier the further you go. It gets more simple, not easier. Still requires the same work, but it gets simpler the further you go down the path.
I love that. Well, any other parting words before we sign off?
Yeah, ClickFunnels is incredible. You guys are amazing. Like, I owe so much to everyone in the community. Incredible. Like, Funnel Hacker Live, that's the whole reason I joined. Like, I got into ClickFunnels. I got into the inner circle. And so any way that I can add value or contribute, I'm always willing. And I appreciate the time that you guys have put into making this community and this tool that has allowed so many other people to have success, because it is because of that labor of love that all these other people are to engage in what they do. So thank you guys.
My pleasure. And again, Trevor, thank you so much. Guys, reach out to Trevor. He's probably one of the coolest guys you'll meet out there. Just a ton of fun. Always got some cool stuff going on. So good luck with everything in your family life, and we'll talk to you real soon, bud.
Thanks. See ya.
Thanks for listening to Funnel Hacker Radio Podcast. If you'd like to be notified anytime we release a new episode, just subscribe over at funnelhackerradio.com. In addition to that, we'd love to send you a free gift. You can find that free gift at funnelhackerradio.com/free trial. One last thing is, we love giving away cars. So if you'd like access to a free dream car, all you have to do is go to funnelhackerradio.com/dream car, and you'll get all the details. Thanks again for listening.